Okay, everybody, welcome to day one of e-learning. We are still in packet number 2, okay? And I want you to turn to page 41, okay? So page 41, I'll write that at the top, page 41, okay? And that's where we are going to begin today. Make sure you always read the instructions, okay? Because sometimes you don't have to actually solve, you just have to calculate the number of solutions. So here it says, number of solutions. Show your work in the space below. As we all know, the discriminant is how we determine the number of solutions, okay? If it's positive, we have 2 solutions. If the answer is negative, we have... Sorry, guys, that's the announcement's going off. There's no solution. And if your answer is 0, there's 1 solution. Okay, so remember that. So let's do this. You need to make sure that it's in standard form. That's the other requirement, standard form. Okay, so we're going to do that. So let's do this one. We've got an A, which is -2, a B, which is 8, and a C, which is -4. Okay, so we know that under our radical is our discriminant. So that's B squared minus 4AC. So we're going to have 8 squared minus 4 times -2 times -4. Okay, and we're going to get 64 minus, what is that, 32? 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32, which is going to give me 32. So we have 2 solutions. Okay, I didn't solve it. I'm just looking to see the number of solutions. That's all they asked me to do. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I am going to do letter D. Okay, and here it's not in standard form yet. So I'm going to subtract 4/3 from both sides, and I'm going to get -3g squared minus 4g minus 4/3 equals 0. Okay? If you want, you can write out your A, B, and C. My A is -3, my B is -4, my C is -4/3. Okay? So we're going to use our discriminant again to determine the number of solutions. We've got B squared minus 4AC. So my B is -4. We're going to have a -4 squared minus 4 times -3 times -4/3. Okay? And that, let's see, is going to give me a 1. We're going to get 16. That's 2 negatives and a negative. That's going to be 3 negatives is a negative. Minus 16 equals 0. So we're going to have 1 solution. Okay? And if we do just one more, again, this is just calculating the number of solutions. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to add 7x. And I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. I'm going to get x squared. Those cancel. Plus 25 equals 0. Okay. B squared minus 4AC. Let's move that around so you guys can actually see better. There we go. We've got our B squared. We don't have a B squared. Our A is 1. Our B is 0. Our C is 25. So we're going to do 0 squared minus 4 times 1 times 25, which is going to give me 0 minus 100, which gives me -100. We have a negative answer, so we know that there is no solution. Okay? And that was just a refresher on what the discriminant can tell us. And remember, the discriminant is B squared minus 4 times A times C. It's what's underneath that radical. Okay, let's turn to page 42. Page 42. Okay? Let's see what it says. Find the value of C for which the equation has 2 solutions, 1 solution, or no solution. So we know, guys, that if we want to have 2 solutions, then our discriminant, 2 solutions, our discriminant is greater than 0. For 1 solution, our discriminant equals 0. And for no solution, our discriminant is less than 0. Okay, it's negative. So that's what we know. So if we go ahead and we do this equation, I want my B squared for 2 solutions. I want my B squared minus 4A times C to be greater than 0. Okay, that's what I want. So I'm going to do -8 squared minus 4 times 1 times C. Okay, and I want that to be greater than 0. I get 64 minus 4c is greater than 0. Okay, I'm going to get negative 4c. Oopsie, I should subtract 64 from both sides first. Okay, I get negative 4c is greater than negative 64. Now, be careful here because we're dividing by a negative 4. Okay, and when you divide by a negative 4, what happens to our inequality sign? It switches, okay? So we're going to get c, we flip our sign as less than, and what, 64 divided by 4 is 16, okay? So we need, what that tells us is that c has to be less than 16 for 2 solutions, okay? And then we can just go from there. If c equals 16, we're going to have 1 solution, okay? And if c is greater than 16, we're going to have no solutions, okay? Because that's our mark. Where it's less than, it's 2. When it's greater than, it's no solution, okay? That's how you do these kinds of problems. And if you wanted to test that, you could put it back in and you would see, for example, if we picked 18 and put it in there, you would find that we get a negative answer, which means there's no solution. And you can test that out if you'd like. Okay, let's do another one. I'm going to switch colors, change things up a little bit. We've got 5x squared minus 45x plus c equals 0. Again, we want b squared minus 4 times a times c to be greater than 0, and that will give us 2 solutions. Okay, if it's greater than 0, because we want a positive, that gives us 2 solutions. So I'm going to do negative 45 squared minus 4 times 5 times c is greater than 0. Okay, now negative 45 squared should be 2025 minus 20c is greater than 0. Okay, I'm going to subtract 2025 from both sides. I get negative 20c is greater than negative 2025. Okay, divide by a negative 20. Oh, we divided by a negative, so I have to flip my symbol. C is less than, let's see, 2025 divided by 20 is going to give me 101.25, okay? And that's going to be for 2 solutions. So if we're greater than 101.25, we're going to have no solution, okay? And if we're equal to 101.25, we're going to have 0 solutions. Oh, sorry, 1 solution, okay? 1 solution when we're equal to, 2 when we're less than, none when we are greater than, okay? So that's that problem. Let's skip to page 43. I hope that was helpful. Use that when you do your homework problems, okay, or practice problems. We are on page 43, okay? And let's look at A. And make sure you always read your instructions. Determine whether the vertex of the graph lies above, below, or on the x-axis, okay? Well, first of all, before we can even determine whether it's on, above, or below, we need to know how many solutions there are, okay? We need to know how many solutions. And remember, the solutions are the x-intercepts. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my discriminant. We know that my A is positive. See, we have a positive 3. A is positive, so we know it opens up. Okay, that's all we know right now. I'm going to do my discriminant. Okay, which is b squared minus 4ac, and that's going to tell me how many solutions I have, okay? If I am, let's see, b squared is going to be 18 squared minus 4 times 3 times 26. Okay, 18 squared is 324. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 26, I think, is 312. It is. Minus 312. So that's going to give me 12. So we know there are 2 solutions, okay? So if I think about what my graph looks like, okay, I know I'm opening up. I know I have 2 solutions, so I have to cross my x-axis 2 times. So I'm going to look something like that, okay? Let's see what else we got here. Let's look at letter C. I think that's a good one. 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. Okay, again, my A value is positive, so I know it opens up. Okay, I know that much. I need to know how many solutions there are to tell if it goes through the x-axis 2 times, if it touches just once, or if it doesn't go through the x-axis at all when it has no solution. So I need to find out how many solutions I have by determining my discriminant. Okay, so we're going to use the discriminant again, and that's b squared minus 4ac. Okay, my b is 20, so I've got 20 squared minus 4 times 25. And we got a big number here. Let's see. We've got 400 minus 16 times 25. I think it's 400. Yep, it is. So we got a 0. So if that's 0, that means there's one solution. Okay, we talked about that the other day, the one solution versus 2 solutions versus no solutions. So I know I'm only going to touch the x-axis one time, and I'm opening up. So I'm just going to touch it and go right back up. Okay, and that's what my graph is going to look like. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Let's turn to page 44. Okay, so we're on 44. And let's go to, just look here what we got here. Let's go down to example 4a, okay? Again, we're on page, we're on page 44, okay? X squared minus 4x equals 7. Choose the best method to solve each of the following. Explain why you chose to solve as you did, then solve, showing the work in the space below. Well, right away, what do I see? I see that I have a b that's even, and I see that my a equals 1. And if you were to go back in your notes and look at when we talked about the best methods for each scenario, that was for an even b and an a equals 1, it's completing the square, okay? So we're going to find our c value first. I like how this is set up. That's fine. Our 7's over here. We have our a and our b on our left. C equals negative 4 over 2 quantity squared. That's going to give me negative 2 squared, which is going to give me 4. Okay, so I'm going to do x squared minus 4x plus 4. And if you do it to one side, you have to do it to both. Okay, we're going to factor this. This is x minus 2, quantity squared, equals 11. Okay, now to solve, because it does say to solve, okay, we have to take the square root, plus or minus. Okay, we get x minus 2 equals positive or negative square root of 11. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. I get x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 11. There is absolutely no perfect square that comes out of 11, so I'm good there. I know this is my exact answer, okay? And then I need my approximates, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my calculator, and I'm going to do 2 plus the square root of 11. Let's see if you can see that. Let's get that glare out of there, which is going to give me 5.32. Okay, I'm going to put that down below because I want to go in ascending order. And then 2 minus square root, sorry, you can't see again, the square root, whoopsie, 2 minus, let's see if Mrs. Quintos can get this right, 11 equals negative 1.32. Okay, and there are my 2 solutions using completing the square. Okay, for letter B, 2x squared equals negative 5 minus 11x. Let's see what we got here. Well, let me move everything over. Plus 5 plus 11x. We've got 2x squared plus 11x plus 5 equals 0. Well, my a is not 1. My b is not even. I'm not going to complete the square. Not going to use the square root method. It looks like I'm going to use quadratic formula. Okay? And you guys should have that memorized by now, I would hope. X equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Okay, so we're going to get, if you want to write your a, b, and c, you're welcome to. A equals 2, b equals 11, c equals 5. Okay, switch colors here to mix it up. X equals negative 11 plus or minus the square root of 11 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5 all over 2 times 2, okay? So let's see what we get here. We're going to get negative 11 plus or minus square root of 121 minus 2 times 5 is 10 times 4 is 40, okay, over 4. That's going to equal negative 11 plus or minus 121 minus 40 is going to give me, oh, this is a nice one. It gives me 81 over 4, okay, which is going to give me x equals negative 11 plus or minus 9 over 4. Okay, so that's going to be x equals and x equals. Let's see, negative 11 minus 9 is going to be negative 20 over 4, which is going to give me negative 5. Let's see, negative 11 plus 9 is negative 2 over 4, which is negative 1/2. Those were nice numbers. Very good. Okay, let's go on to page 45. Moving right along, we're going to be on page 45 here. Okay, and it says the area of an isosceles triangle is 192 meters squared. Height is 4x. Okay, so that 4x is the height. Okay, what is the perimeter? Well, we need to know all the sides, so we need to find x to know what that is. And we know area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay, they give me the area, which is 192, equals 1/2. My base is 3x, it's the whole thing, so that's going to be 6x. 3x plus 3x, right? We added them. My height is 4x. Okay, so we don't need those 5x's at all right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, let's see, 4 times 6 is 24x squared. Divided by 2 is 12x squared, so 192 equals 12x squared. Oh, I right away see that I can use the square root method, right? I don't have a b term, right? No b term. So divide both sides by 12. I get x squared equals 16. We're going to take the square root of both. X equals positive or negative 4, but the negative is going to be an extra answer because we obviously can't have negative for side lengths. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come up here and I know my x equals 4. Okay, so I've got 5 times 4, which is 20. 5 times 4, which is, which is 20. And here I've got 3 times 4, which is 12. And 3 times 4, which is 12. Okay, and I want the perimeter, so I'm going to add up all the sides. So the perimeter is going to equal 20 plus 20 plus 12 plus 12. So I get perimeter equals 64 meters. That was kind of a fun little problem. Okay, awesome. I think that is enough for now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to end this, and you're going to have some problems. Okay.